Ever feel like your car has a mind of its own? Stalling, surging, or hesitating when you least expect it? Well, if that sounds familiar, you are in exactly the right place. We're about to pull back the curtain on one of the most common and most frustrating causes behind those exact problems.
It's such an unnerving feeling, isn't it? You're just driving, minding your own business, and suddenly the engine starts acting up. What's usually happening here is a simple breakdown in communication, a disconnect between your foot on the gas pedal and the engine itself. And the symptoms? They can be all over the place. Maybe your check engine light just popped on, or you've got this rough, shaky idle at a stoplight, or it hesitates right when you need to accelerate. You might even notice your gas mileage tanking or your transmission shifting really harshly. These aren't just random glitches. They're all clues, and they're all pointing to one potential source. And here's the kicker. The culprit usually isn't some massive, complicated, super expensive part. Nope. More often than not, it's a tiny, simple sensor that's just feeding your car's main computer some seriously bad information. And that's what's causing all the chaos.
All right, so let's formally meet this little troublemaker, the throttle position sensor, or TPS for short. It's a small but absolutely critical player in how your engine runs, even if you've never heard of it until right now.
So what does it do? In the simplest terms, the TPS is your engine's translator. It sits right on the throttle body, and its entire job is to watch how far you're pushing the gas pedal. It then zaps that info over to the engine's computer, basically yelling, "Hey, the driver wants this much power, go." So how on earth does this little sensor turn the movement of your foot into a command the engine gets? Well, the process is actually pretty straightforward and, honestly, kind of clever. The best way to picture this is to think of a volume knob on an old stereo. As you turn it up, the sound increases smoothly, right? The TPS works just like that. But instead of music, it's controlling the signal that tells the computer how much air to let into the engine. So here's the play-by-play. 1. You press the gas pedal. 2. A little flap called the throttle plate opens up. 3. The TPS measures how far that plate opened and sends out a voltage signal. 4. The car's main computer catches that signal. And 5. The computer uses that exact signal to perfectly calculate how much fuel to mix with the air. When it's working right, it's a beautiful, seamless system. But what happens when it doesn't work? Well, the number one reason the sensor fails is because of something called a dead spot. And yeah, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. As one expert put it, the sensor literally gets a dead spot. See, the TPS is a moving part with electrical contacts inside, and over thousands and thousands of miles, those contacts wear down, especially in the spots you use the most, like cruising speed. Eventually, a spot just wears out completely, and the signal from that position just vanishes. And you can actually see the difference. A healthy sensor on the left sends this beautiful, smooth, continuous signal as you press the pedal. But a failing one, it's all over the place. You get these sudden drops or spikes. Those are the dead spots. That's the garbage signal that's confusing your car's computer and causing all those crazy symptoms. Okay, so you're suspicious. You think your TPS might be the problem. How do you actually prove it? The good news is you don't have to guess. There are a couple of very clear ways to find the evidence. Your first clue is almost always going to be that check engine light. If you plug in a simple code scanner, which you can get for pretty cheap these days, the car might just tell you what's wrong. You'll want to look for codes like P0120 all the way up to P0123. Any of those point you directly to a problem with the throttle position sensor circuit. But listen, a code doesn't always mean the sensor itself is bad. It could be the wiring, right? So to be absolutely 100% positive, you need the definitive test. And all it takes is one simple, inexpensive tool, a multimeter. Now, before you start poking around, you need to know what a good reading looks like. On a healthy sensor with your foot off the gas, it should read somewhere around half a volt, maybe up to 1 volt. Floor it, wide open throttle, and you should see it jump up to around 4.5 volts. The real key, though, is how it gets from low to high. So here's how you do the test. It sounds technical, but trust me, it's not. First, key on, but engine off. Find the 3 little wires going to the TPS. You're going to carefully connect your multimeter probes to the signal and ground wires. Then, all you do is reach over and slowly, very slowly, open the throttle by hand, while keeping your eyes glued to the voltage reading on that multimeter. And reading the results is the easy part. If that voltage number climbs up nice and smooth with no hiccups, your sensor is perfectly fine.
But if you see that voltage suddenly jump or spike up or drop to zero for even a split second, bingo, you've found your dead spot. That is the smoking gun for a bad sensor. So really, if you only remember one thing from all this, let it be this. A jumpy signal means a bad sensor. Smooth is good, jumpy is bad. If that voltage reading is anything other than a perfect, steady climb, that sensor is toast, and it's time for a new one.
So the next time your car starts acting up with all those unpredictable, frustrating symptoms, don't immediately fear the worst. Take a look at the data. Could this one tiny, simple, often overlooked sensor really be the source of your car's big problem? Well, now you know exactly how to find out.